Is it gonna send me the clipboard at any point?
All right, just waiting for the stream. Oh, the camera count doesn't have the RP. 1 second.
Oop.
All right, I think the stream is all set up. Sorry about the delay there. We'll just get started here. Tonight, or this morning, based on your time zone, we'll be having Datapack Quirks by Moxvallix. So please take your seat, settle down. If you have any questions, please use the Discord VC voice chat or in-game chat or YouTube chat. Other than that, go ahead and get started, Moxvallix.
Okay. I'm just getting the last couple of screens up. Okay. Well, this is very exciting. Okay. I guess I'll start. Hello everybody. Welcome to my panel. Yeah. This is gonna be pretty cool, I think. I'm gonna be showing off some cool stuff, hopefully. Yeah, and so my panel was about Datapack Quirks, a bit of a rename from what it was on the thing, but whatever. I think this name is cool. And yeah, you can see some things on the sides there, and so I'm going to say that this panel is targeted towards people who have a basic to moderate understanding of datapacking. So I apologize in advance to any that may not understand all that I'm about to present, and direct your attention to the side screens, which I hope will provide adequate entertainment if you don't understand what's going on in the main screen, which I completely understand, to be honest. Okay. And yeah, that's my turtle there. Enjoy. Okay. So, I'm going to give a spyglass warning. There's going to be some small text, and you probably want a spyglass. So if you don't already have a spyglass, apologies to people on live stream. But if you don't already have a spyglass, go and grab one. And yeah, I'll give a couple seconds for anyone that wants to quickly duck out. Oh yeah, install spyglass as well. You want that, but that's a different thing. Okay. Now we're gonna move on. Okay, so let me introduce myself. I'm Moxvallix. You probably already figured that part out. And I like to make data packs, which is why the first thing I'm going to talk about is Need Cooler Shoes, which is not a data pack, but it is why I'm here at Summit. Need Cooler Shoes is my skin editor. It's something I've been working on for the past 3 years. You can see screenshots of it over here. But as well, you may be more familiar on the data pack side with my project Code of Copper, which I worked on with my friend Gears, and that's what I was here last Summit for. It's a programming language in Minecraft, so very much like technical data packing, we called it. And then, yeah, Zoglin is my data pack preprocessor that I also worked on. And both of those have been on hiatus for a little bit. But yeah, so that's basically me. So, data packs are pretty weird, especially MC function. MC function is such a strange language. You take a bunch of chat commands and string them together in crazy ways, then you add macros and stuff, and you have a very strange setup. Truly unlike any other language I've ever worked with. And I love it, personally. Implementing the simplest things in a data pack can be a real challenge. There are so many different restrictions and limitations that you must consider, and so many tricks that you must employ to achieve your goals. And I guess that brings me nicely onto the topic of this panel, which is Datapack quirks. So, what are Datapack quirks, you might ask? Well, they might be an intentional feature that is obscure, but useful in very specific circumstances. Or, a Datapack quirk could be an unintended outcome of a different feature that can be abused for datapacking purposes. Or just generally a weird thing that is somewhat helpful for datapacking. I'm going to be real, my definition of datapack quirk has been pretty vague for this. Yeah, quirked up datapack. You can thank Lush for that one. Anyway, in this presentation, I'll be showing off 10 different quirks. Many of these were suggested to me by members of the community. I got many different suggestions, and many of them were super cool, but unfortunately I do not have time to cover them all. Each quirk will credit the people that suggested it, as well as the original discoverer if I know who that is. Okay, well, now that's out of the way, let's get into it. Is everyone excited? Okay. So, the first quirk I'm going to show off was suggested by Greatbur, and this is one probably many of you already know. Entities in Minecraft all have a unique type ID, such as Minecraft:zombie or Minecraft:skeleton, right? It's the ID you use when you summon the entity. However, usually if you read an entity's NBT data, you can't actually find this ID in there at all. It's just missing. But sometimes you want this ID. Sometimes you want to be able to detect this, right? It can be useful to have this information. You may want to know what type of entity just stepped into a certain location, for example, and then do something with the exact ID. Or have a spell that a player's cast that should behave differently based on which entity is targeted. Now, you should probably be using predicates for a bunch of that stuff, but I'm sure there are times that this is fun. Anyway, let's ignore the actual predicates and talk about this stat. So, if you make your entity ride another one, right, suddenly the ID field just shows up in the NBT data in the passengers array, right? And then, so all you need to do is make your entity that you're wanting to check ride another entity, and then read the passengers list. Suddenly you got the ID. Beautiful. Isn't that pretty cool? Okay, this was a pretty simple one, but I think it has its use cases. I like it. All right, next slide. So, number 2 was suggested by myself, and these are some pretty cool features of the data command. This is another one that I'm sure a bunch of you already know, but I'm sure a few people will find this useful. You can actually do some cool bulk array edits with very few commands. Okay, I'm going to explain this one out a little bit, because, yeah. Okay, I'll step aside a bit so you guys can see the code. Let's say you have an array containing different amphibian objects, right? In this example, we have frogs and toads. The type of amphibian is stored in the type field of the object. Let's say as well, all amphibians have a color. So, the first trick comes in if we want to collect all frogs in an array. If we set up a new array, such as in this example, we can then append from the first array, but specify we want type frog inside the square brackets. This will collect all objects that are of type frog and append them to our new array. Okay, so that's the first cool thing you can do like this. But the next trick I'm going to show is also in a similar vein. Let's say we now want all of our frogs to be pink. We can actually modify the array of amphibians and specify once again type frog in the square brackets. We can then follow that with a dot color to set our value to pink. This will update every frog's color to be pink. So, yeah, these two methods make dealing with bulk transactions in arrays quite easily. And while the use cases are kind of niche, it's still really nice that this is there. Okay, I'm going to get back to the center now. Hopefully that's fine. All right. This next one was suggested by Super Ant. And this is called the clone block check. This one's cool. Okay, so if you clone so let's say you want to check for a certain block in a region, right? You can put that block as the filtered in a clone, and then clone the region to itself. So you don't actually move it anywhere. It just clones to the exact location. If that block is in that thing, the command will succeed. If the filtered block is not in it, the command will fail. Which means you can use this to check if the block is in the region. This one is very simple, but I think there's definitely use cases for it. I'm going to be saying that a lot, I think. Certainly very cool. Okay. Alright. I really like this one, and it's super simple as well. I'm sure all of you know the standard raycast. Move a tiny amount forward from the player's eyes, check if in an entity or block, then continue until the check succeeds. This method is fine, however it does not really take into account block hitboxes. Many blocks, such as stairs or trapdoors, do not have collision in the full cube, rather just a portion of it. However, the standard raycast will count itself as in the block, even if it's just passing through the empty part of the block. This quirk is a very simple raycast method that respects those hitboxes, allowing the raycast to pass through the gaps as if they were air. However, the catch is that the raycast only works for players. You can't make other entities do this raycast, unfortunately. And that is because predicates can detect when a player is looking at an entity. This check respects the block hitboxes. So, if you summon a very small entity, such as an interaction, set to be really tiny, right, that has a fixed UUID, you can check each iteration of the raycast whether the player is looking at that entity. The raycast goes until the player is no longer looking at that entity, which means it has passed into a hitbox that obscures it from view. I'm sure this is already fairly well known, but I think it's cool. And yeah, you can do it like a raycast like this. Yeah. Okay. Okay, this one is a doozy. I'm going to move out of the way so you can see this little image here. This is known in the community as cloud computing. It was suggested to me by a triplaner, and it was discovered by Triton365 in their Minecraft Commands Discord. Okay, this stuff is crazy, and unfortunately I'm not going to have time to explain everything about this. So I'm going to be explaining a more simple version of it. Because honestly, some of this math stuff is far above my pay grade. So this method stems from a couple of fairly recent features, which all kind of work together really nice. Firstly, with a new timeline system, you can tie environment attributes such as cloud height of a dimension to a clock. Timelines can be configured to take the value of the clock and use it to modify the attribute through addition or multiplication, for example. I believe there's other modifiers as well. I haven't looked fully into all of it, but it's very cool. These timelines then will also stack their modifiers, meaning that the value applied to the attribute is based on the time of, for example, one clock that then is multiplied by the time of another clock, which, as you can see, is just math. So that means, right, you can use, math jump scare, real. You can use the cloud height attribute to then, paired with these clock modifiers, do floating point math. Woo! That's scary. But that's cool because doing floating point math in Minecraft data packs is kind of a pain in the ass. So yeah, but how do you read the height of a cloud, right? Like, so you've got it setting the height of the cloud to the values of the clocks, but how do you read that? Well, okay, it turns out that you can actually resolve environment attribute values into custom model data of items. I'm sure there's other ways of doing it as well, but this was the way that I saw done. And this is like Datapack quirk. This is like the platonic Datapack quirk. So then all you need to do is run an item modifier, and boom, you've got your number out the other end. That's awesome. That's absolutely awesome. So yeah, all of this floating point stuff, just done with clouds. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so I probably butchered this explanation a little bit. I'm very sorry for anyone that's interested. But I've put together a repo that has some code, and it's all nicely commented, and there'll be a QR code at the end if anyone wants to read how that works. It'll do a better job than I do. Anyway, let's move on. Okay. This one's a little bit of a breather. This is a little bit of an easier one to understand. Entity tags are kind of weird. The tags array on entity actually has some cool behavior which can be exploited. So, firstly, entities cannot have duplicate tags. If you try to append a string to the tags array that matches one already in the array, the command will succeed, but the entity will still only have one copy of the string in the tags. That means all you need to do is do a check to see whether the entity's tag list changed at all to know whether a certain string matches one already in the list. So I've personally used this in the past for Code of Copper, which was written pre-macros, where Gears and I used it to check whether a string matched one of our keywords. So that was pretty cool. It's probably better now to do this check with macros, but pre-macro, this technique went hard. And secondly, and slightly less useful, but the tags array will always store the tags in a predictable order. Now, admittedly, this is not a very useful order. It's not alphabetic or anything, but it is consistent. No matter what order you append the strings to a tags array, it will always order the same set of tags in the exact same way. And this could be useful for something. I don't know, maybe some sorting thing or something. I don't know. I'm going to be real. I don't know what you would use that for, but I'm sure someone one day will find a use for it. So I thought I should mention it. Okay. Right, okay. This was suggested by Super Ant, and this technique is honestly dark magic. Right? I don't know how this works, to be honest. My guess is that it's a precision error. Just given by the massive large numbers going on, my guess is that's what's going on here. I've not looked into it enough to know, but that's my guess. Okay, so this command, if you spyglass into it, give it a good read, this command here will get you the 00 of the chunk that you ran the command in. So it will align execution to 00 of that chunk. Is that useful? Probably. I'm sure someone will find a use for that one day. But it's super cool. Like, look at this. All you need is just a bunch of random numbers, and suddenly you're at 00 of the current chunk. Yeah, so basically my guess is that these numbers are so huge that essentially you lose enough precision that it just rounds it down to the nearest 16. But yeah, very cool. And yeah, I have actually tested this to make sure it works, and it actually does work. Yeah. Okay, this one's fun. This was once again suggested by Trey Planer, and this is Wandering Trader Pathing. So, Wandering Traders actually have a special NBT field called Wander Target. This stores a block position. When set, the Wandering Trader will path towards the block position in its data. This is incredibly useful for any custom entities that need pathfinding. Just make one of these guys super small or invisible, but you have to keep clearing their milk bucket because they will keep drinking it during the day to try and clear the invisibility. And you have your custom entity ride it or follow it around. You can then just tell the Wandering Trader where to go, and it works out the rest for you. Yeah, it's very cool. Very useful for specific things. Yeah, you can use scale to make them really tiny, which is helpful. Okay, so this quirk was suggested by Runcows. This one's simple but effective. So it turns out that above build height in the world, or way below the world, light just doesn't exist, right? There's no light level. So if you have a predicate here that checks all light levels, this will succeed everywhere inside the world. However, it will fail anywhere outside the world, meaning that this can be used to check whether you're outside the world. Once again, not sure what you would use this for. I guess there's times where you've managed to get your execution outside of the world, but if you need to check that, this is how you do it. I mean, you could also probably, if I was going to do the naive approach, I would summon an entity there, get its position, and check the number. But that's a bad approach, and this is so much better. Okay. Let's move on. Alright, this is the final quirk in the list, and this one is Easy Distance Calculation. This is another crazy one. And once again, it was discovered by Triton365, and it was suggested by Sisku and Triplaner. This one's very cool. So, it turns out that using the transformation matrix on a display entity, when it resolves to scale left rotation, etc., actually does all of the math necessary for distance calculation. Honestly, I have no idea why. Matrix math perplexes me, so I'm not even going to begin to explain why it does this. Just know that it does. It's actually quite simple to accomplish. You simply provide the matrix with your X, Y, and Z, like in this little command here, and it will tell you the distance from 0, 0, 0 to those coordinates. And I believe with a bit more math, you can actually use this to get the distance between any 2 points. But yeah, it's very cool. You just simply plug in the numbers, and then you read the first value of the scale, and that is the result. So yeah, for such a complex math operation, it's actually crazily simple to pull off. Okay. Well, it turns out that I was lying, and I actually have one more quirk for everyone. So yeah, drum roll please. I hope you're all excited for this one. And my final quirk is you guys, the community. A quirky bunch. You can throw your tomatoes now. Yeah, that's fair enough. No, but seriously, the Datapacking community is genuinely the best thing about Datapacking. And Smith Summit is really the perfect example of it. So many talented people worked on Summit, and I'm honestly super grateful to be a part of this community. It has been really wonderful seeing everyone explore and enjoy the fruit of many, many hours of work, and truly words cannot even describe how amazing this all is. I believe that we as a community can achieve anything given enough time and dedication. So many booths this year have completely blown me away. It has also been wonderful getting to know more of you, and I hope that all of you here today have gotten to explore the booths and meet as many wonderful people as you could. Genuinely, this has all been so incredible. Okay. And on that note, I will end my presentation here. I hope you all enjoyed. Please, if any of these quirks were of interest to you at all, and you want to see how they're done and learn more about them, scan this QR code, visit this link. It takes you to a GitHub repo where I've got the data pack. I've got all of the 10 quirks in there. They're all named. They're all numbered. I've put heaps of comments trying to explain as well as I can what and how they work. And genuinely check that out. If you want to use any of these, go for it. Just copy the code. And yeah, finally, I guess I open the floor for any questions. Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for presenting Datapack quirks. I actually I did not know half of these actually, and I've been in this space for like 10 years.
That's awesome. Okay, I'm glad that they're, people did learn something from this.
Yes, I noted a couple questions per quirk, so you might want to go back to some pages. You can use Shift right click to go backwards.
Okay. Yeah,
If you want to
yeah.
go to quirk 1.
Quirk 1. All right.
So about the entity ID, do you have any ideas of when you would use an entity ID?
Okay. My main idea would be if you needed to use it in a macro of sorts. So if you needed to maybe get the target entity and then summon a duplicate of it, you could then take that ID and shove that into a summon command in a macro. You could also just use it to check the entity. I mean, I think predicate is a better way, but it is something you could do. I'm sure there's other use cases of it. Yeah, I'm gonna be real. I personally haven't used this method. I just thought it was cool, so that's why it's in here. Okay, I'm gonna move on to quirk 3. Let's have a look. Does store result get the count of that block? Now that is a good question. I didn't actually check that. It probably does, yeah. Okay, I'm seeing comments in the chat that it does. Okay, so that's another cool use case then, is you could see how many of that block with this method, which is another actually quite useful thing. Okay, quirk 4, was this ever performance compared? No, I'm gonna be real, I just made this shit up. I mean, someone else probably made it up as well. I've never tested it. It's probably not that efficient, but it works. Yeah.
I mean, it does look like Iris in a pinch, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. It's like, and it's like it's genuinely it's just a couple of commands to get going. So I probably, obviously someone can do more performance testing on it. I'm gonna imagine it's probably not as performant as Iris, which is like a whole dedicated raycast library for anyone that didn't know. But yeah, it's simple, it works. Okay. I've got quirk 5 listed here, but there's nothing underneath it. So
Yeah. I think the next question is which quirk is your favorite?
Oh, that's like asking me what my favorite child is, which luckily I don't have children. So let's see, what is my favorite quirk? Okay, possibly Wandering Trader Pathing. I think that one's super cool. I'm quite partial to hitbox accurate raycast because like I didn't get suggested by this by anyone else. I kind of just stumbled across it myself, and I'm sure other people have done this as well. But it's like I feel a little bit like this one's my baby, you know. Yeah. So I think this one. Okay, this one's actually genuinely really useful. So if I'm going on like a useful quirk, this one genuinely is, just because the amount of like data modify stuff I end up doing in my data packs. That's awesome. Okay. Was the death of Coda Copper supported by the fact that copper golems are now in the game? Okay, you got us. Yeah, kinda. We're like, we saw them come out. We're like, God damn it. Yeah. It definitely killed a little bit of the motivation. I think if Code of Copper was to come back, we would probably overhaul the Copper Golem a little bit to make it firstly look more like an actual Copper Golem. Did Zoglin somehow zombify once again? Yeah, true. Yeah, if we were to come back, firstly, Moxlib needs to be updated, which I'm going to be real, that's the main reason that it stopped getting updated, is Moxlib is a pain in the ass to work with. It's all written for pre-macro, yeah, basically it's all written for pre-macro MC function, and it's all outdated. How do you get a maid outfit like that? Does someone want to link the maid outfit in the chat? Okay, so after all these silly quirks, scripting still not looking incentivizing. Okay. I think this is exactly why we don't need scripting, you know? These quirks are beautiful. Absolutely beautiful, and I think they're the perfect example of why I think scripting will be a bit of a loss. Because we end up doing fucking wacky shit like this, you know? It's awesome. I love it. Okay, what quirks just barely didn't make the cut for these slides? Okay, there's actually a lot, and in an earlier version of this presentation, I was going to do a rapid fire. I guess I can kind of rapid fire some of them now. One of them is that, okay, so if a player is standing on powdered snow with leather boots on, and they open a GUI, if you then were to remove the leather boots, the player is not actually going to sink into the powdered snow until they close the GUI. Now, why it does that, I have no idea. What's that useful for? That's pretty niche, but it's there. It's a thing in the game. It's super. Yeah, it's a way to detect closing a GUI. Yeah. So that one is very cool, and I'm just gonna load up my spreadsheet that I've got, and I'm gonna read off some of the other ones because there's so much cool stuff in here, but a lot of them unfortunately just didn't make the cut. Let's see. Oh yeah, another one is you can use area of effect clouds to give like tick precise effects, which is cool. I'm not someone that uses effects that much, so that's probably why that didn't make the cut. But that is useful. Let me go. What? There's so many of the. Okay, I'm gonna be real. I can't pass through all of this right now. But yeah, there was a lot of quirks that only just barely didn't make it. Yeah. Yeah. Is there any other questions? Pick a music disc. Oh. Oh god, I have one that I like. I've forgotten the name of it. Let me load up my music player. Uh Yeah, Strad is pretty good. Strad's pretty good. Yeah, Creator's good. Pigstep is pretty good as well. There's a couple. I like a lot of the music discs. What quirk do you wish you could have squeezed in? I don't know. Do you miss making data packs in this instant? Oh no, really, I do. I honestly, coming back to like doing Summit, has made me realize just how much I miss working on data packs. Like it was super fun making my little data pack for my booth. So I that was really fun. Any booths I like the most from Summit? Okay, I'm not gonna do that here. Yeah, I like a lot of them. I like all of them actually. But what's your turtle's name? This is important to the presentation. His name is Toby. Um, yeah, Toby the turtle. Toby Fox. True.
Well,
Um,
I think we've sort of gotten to the tail end of all the questions.
yeah.
I think there's one last question about your side screens. I think people enjoy the memes you brought in.
Okay. How did I find such shit posting for the side slides? Okay. My process was okay. I tried to at times get ones that were relevant to the context. So, for example, I decided just on a whim that I was going to have Herobrine writing a warden for this. So then I decided to put Herobrine shit posts on the side, right? Um, like this one, it was like data modify. I'm like, what can I do with that? I could make it that I get a lot of money, and then I'm like, oh, Mr. Beast would give that much money, right? Or this one, I'm gonna be real. A lot of these were like 3 a.m. and I was kind of like, uh, losing my mind a little. But then I also employed the help of some of the regulars in the voice chat, and if I get to hang on. Yeah, if I get to this one, this is the list of culprits, by the way. So like Emma, Sun, and Volt were helping me in VC find some of these memes. Sun actually got a whole page. You can see here. This is the Sun page. And Volt got this one. This is fact checked by real booth vendors. Yeah. Yeah, so that was basically how that was done. Okay.
Actually, I have one last question I found from YouTube chat.
Okay,
For your
okay.
Need Cooler Shoes booth, what was the trickiest part to work on? Did you use any quirks?
The trickiest part to work on. Well, I think the mask editor was trickiest. I actually implemented this raycaster, which really I shouldn't have, but I was like, I want to use my raycast method, so I did. That was a bad idea. And if anyone of you used the mask editor in the early version of it, this method does not work well in high latency environments. And that's why some of the raycasts would sometimes fail spectacularly. Yeah, yeah. Well, what it is that it's actually the raycast is ending early, and then because in front of you is not yeah. So then it draws the pixel at that spot rather than at the end of the raycast. But yeah, I just edited this to be a regular raycast, and then it started working. So yeah. Uh. So yeah, that's the quirk I used in it, and I shouldn't have used it. It was a bad idea.
Cool. Well,
I
we'll
got
go ahead
headphones.
and end the
Yeah.
panel here, I think. Thanks,
Okay.
Moxvallix, for presenting the oddities of Minecraft, or I guess Datapack quirks. Any last words you want to add?
Thank you for coming. This was super fun. Hope you all enjoyed. Check out Need Cooler Shoes.
Awesome. Next up on the summit schedule, we have designing an open world in the Patch Plateaus in about, I don't know, 12 hours? I can't do math. Probably 12, probably 18 hours, maybe. Friday, midday if you're American, I guess. And we only have a couple events, so take a good look at the summit calendar. We have a World Gen Q&A and also a second showing of the Figurigama music show. So look out for those. Thanks everyone for joining us, and that's all for this panel. Take care, everyone.